right, what is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Small Town Horror with Johnny and Randy. And as always, I'm Johnny.
Nobody. I'm Randy.
And we are coming at you with the 40th anniversary. We're getting old, man.
Hey, man, this movie's only 2 years older than me.
40 years ago, Wes Craven released one of the greatest horror films of all time, A Nightmare on Elm Street.
I'm going to go cry now.
It's just shocking. Like, me and Randy celebrated the 50th anniversary of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And now here we are already celebrating the 40th anniversary. And then earlier this year, or was it last year? I think it was this year, we did Sleepaway Camp.
Yep.
So, like, all the films that I grew up watching are getting at that peak where I'm like, oh, it doesn't seem that long ago.
Yeah.
Just think, Scream came out in 96. Yeah. I was 10 years old when that came out.
That movie's almost 30.
Yes.
I don't like it.
Well, when you just said we'll go before we started the podcast,
I really am going to cry.
Randy said, man, we'll wait till it starts coming up to the ages where the movies me and him grew up watching. And I was like, man, I know there's one coming up, and it was Scream. Yeah.
Okay, I don't like you right now. Just so you guys know, good Lord willing, 2026, there will be a Scream review.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, hopefully we'll be able to do all of them in a row.
Oh, I love
like
it. I love it.
With The Conjuring.
Right.
Since the last one's coming out. That's one thing we hadn't decided yet, because the last one is coming out next year.
Yes.
Or the next one. Supposedly supposed to be the last one.
I'm kind of hoping it is the last one.
I do too,
and I want them to go
over.
Yeah, I want them to go out with a bang.
Exactly. So we may go ahead and give you that. We ain't decided yet.
Right. But
to be dated.
But yeah, because that's one of Randy's favorite franchises.
Absolutely.
Is the Scream.
Johnny is Michael Myers. Halloween is the best slasher movie.
Yeah.
Mine's Scream.
But that's one thing that's why I love these films, because everybody can agree to disagree, and nobody's like, well, this film's... No, because, it's...
You can't hate on it.
Right.
It's glorious.
Because Scream 6 was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, Scream in 1996. I said Scream 6.
Yeah, well, I mean, Scream 6 was good.
It was good, yeah.
I don't know about amazing.
But yeah.
I mean, it was good.
Right.
It wasn't like Scream 1996 good.
Right.
But, yeah. It was definitely better than 3. Hands down. But anyway, we're not, yeah. Focus.
Yeah, we're not talking about Scream. We are talking about A Nightmare on Elm Street. Oh, man, you talk about, in my opinion, one of the best horror, not just horror films, but horror slashers to ever be created. Especially the backstory, how Freddy come about from Wes Craven.
The real backstory. We're not talking about the idiotic remake.
Yeah. But, man, it's, like I said, it's been 40 years, man, and without doing any reviews or nothing like that, I'm going to say, after watching it again, which I watch this movie probably twice a year anyway, watching it tonight, I still think it holds up, man. I don't think it was so dated that, like some of the films, like, for example, Friday the 13th, the original.
Yeah.
It is a good movie, but when you watch it nowadays, it's got a lot of cheesiness to it. It's boring, and the whole mystery whodunit thing isn't exciting like it was, I'm sure, when it came out in 1980, but just the concept of how Freddy Krueger messes with these kids' mind where they can't sleep, because, I mean, sleep deprived is one of the biggest things that it'll just break the body down.
Yeah. And that's the difference between, you look at Friday the 13th and you look at Nightmare on Elm Street. To me, Friday the 13th is more of a build-up to Jason, where they give you Freddy Krueger right off the bat on Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Because the first one, spoiler, if you've never seen it, Jason isn't in it.
Yeah.
It's Mrs. Voorhees. But they build it up to Jason.
Right.
So it's like somebody's killing people at the camp. You don't know who it is. No, you see Freddy within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's a big difference as far as Wes Craven's like, hey, you know who's going to be out here doing the wheeling and dealing.
Right.
And you don't have to, there's no guesswork to it.
Exactly.
So that's where you can like both of them, but then you can also like how they go about bringing in their bad guys. And the kicker about it is, I didn't watch this. I've never seen this movie until, was it a year and a half ago? 2 years
Man,
ago?
it's pushing 2 years. Yeah.
2 years?
Yeah.
That was the first time I'd seen the first one.
Yeah.
Like I'd seen bits and pieces of it, like scenes from it mainly.
Yeah.
But I came into Nightmare on Elm Street with Dream Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
And that's still my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Even after watching this one, we've watched 4.
Mm-hmm.
And we never watched 2, did we?
No.
No. Yeah, because you said it was bad.
It sucks too because it's not a bad movie. It's just it doesn't go along. Like part 2,
you don't have to watch it.
Exactly. Like if you literally 1, 3, and 4, I think's the best.
And that's one of the reasons we sat down and watched them in the order that we did, because it introduces the medicine that they is really prominent through 3 and 4.
And I was introducing you to those specific ones because you had never seen Freddy vs. Jason, and we were fixing to review
That's what it was.
So I was giving you the backstory of Freddy.
Yeah. I know we were sitting there watching it, and I was like, man, are you sure we haven't reviewed this? I remember sitting down watching this movie with you.
Yeah.
But Johnny found it on this one. I found it on Dream Warriors, and I still have a very good appreciation for the first one, even though that's not my favorite.
Right.
And if you want to get technical about it, Freddy vs. Jason is probably not my favorite, but Dream Warriors is probably right there.
But if it come down to a strict, somebody said, give me the Nightmare on Elm Street, 1 through 7, you're going to say Dream Warriors.
Absolutely. 100%.
Right.
And another reason is because I like the more comical Freddy.
Right. That's something I want to get into before we get done too. But no, and like I said, you can't go wrong with Dream Warriors. I was just at a convention in Memphis, and I got to meet Kincaid. This is the second time I've met Kincaid. Do you remember him from Dream Warriors?
No, off the top of my head.
He was the black guy, the big,
guy.
Yeah, who when he was in his dreams he was real strong.
Yeah.
Such a super cool dude, man. But yeah, no, Dream Warriors, man.
You say that, I remember seeing that picture that you showed.
But no, man. Overall, like I said, 40 years, and I just think it's neat that even young kids are getting introduced to it now.
Yeah.
My brother's been showing my 2 nieces, which is his 2 daughters, of course.
No.
They just finished, I believe, Dream Warriors. So, but he's showing them 1, 3, 4, 5. He's skipping the second one because, and it's just the fact that the second one doesn't go with it.
Yeah.
But it's a shame because that Freddy in part 2 is actually more evil, in my opinion, than any of the other ones. But we'll have to sit down and watch it one day and review it. Because like I said, no, it's not a bad movie.
Yeah.
It's just there's things that I feel like they messed up on. Like the main protagonist is a man instead of a female. And which in real life, the main actor is gay. But, in the movie, he's not supposed to be gay. But they put him in awkward situations that I'm like, and they gave Freddy lines in the film that just didn't mash well.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's one of those that you never have to watch. As long as you watch 1, 3, and the rest, you're good.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, like I said, because you get one of the better Freddys in it. As always, check us out on all of our social media. Our Facebook is Small Town Horror with Johnny and Randy. Our Instagram is Small Town Horror Johnny _Randy. Our TikTok is at Small Town Horror Podcast. And our YouTube channel, which you're on.
That's
hopefully,
what you see in these pretty faces.
Yeah, if you're watching the YouTube channel, we're Small Town Horror with Johnny and Randy on YouTube now. So, anyway. For all you audio listeners, you can catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can download us on iTunes. We would really appreciate if you would leave us a 5-star review if you think we're doing a great job. Please leave us a comment. If you don't like certain things that we're doing, hey, let us know. And also on Spotify or YouTube, please leave us some recommendations on some films because we would love to kick off the new year with recommendations.
We actually got a recommendation a couple of days ago that we had already initially been talking about doing.
Yes.
And I don't mind to go ahead and tell you.
No, go ahead.
But we've already decided what we're going to pair with it. So the recommendation was Stir of Echoes.
Yes.
So 1 month you're going to be getting a Kevin Bacon month because we're going to be doing Stir of Echoes and The Hollow Man.
Yes.
We're going to put those two together. Me and Johnny both love both of those movies.
Hollow Man is such an underrated film.
Yeah,
never gets talked about.
Oh yeah. And it's one of those movies like, and I'm not talking about the Invisible Man that came out a couple of years ago. No, we ain't talking about that Hollow Man. We're talking about Kevin Bacon,
Yeah.
the Baconator.
Oh yeah.
Gonna be awesome. Don't know when we're gonna do it yet.
Bet it will be next year.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because we already got you planned out for the rest of this year.
Yeah, we'll announce that at the end of the podcast. So
I'll give
you will know what's coming up.
Give you a hint if you pay attention close enough to the YouTube channel. I bet you can figure it out.
Yeah,
I bet you can. I bet you can.
But
anyway,
with that being said, Randy.
Yes, sir.
You got us a summer, man.
Man, you know I got some summer. Dang, this one's a book. All right, we ain't gonna read the book.
No, let us have it. Go ahead.
No, you don't want the book. I mean, you want the book?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. On Elm Street, Nancy Thompson and a group of her friends comprising of Tina Gray, Rod Lane, and Glenn Lance are being tormented by a clawed killer in their dreams named Fred Krueger. Nancy must think quickly as Fred tries to pick them off one by one. When he has you in your sleep, who is there to save you?
All right, man. So,
you want some cast action?
Yeah, hit the cast, man.
Well, I'm gonna start at the top. Big dogs. The one and only Robert Englund. That's Freddy Krueger.
Yes.
And there's no other Freddy Krueger ever. It's the only one. The beautiful Heather Langenkamp is Nancy Thompson. We have Johnny Depp bringing in his big screen debut as Glenn Lance. We've got John Saxon as Donald Thompson. He plays Nancy's father.
Wonderful actor.
Amazing. Amanda Wise plays Tina Gray.
Yep.
Huza Garcia is Rod Lane. Lynn Shay plays Nancy's teacher. We've got Tina's mom as Donna Woodrum. I mean, that's
pretty much the major players.
That's the main peoples.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
One thing that amazed me about this movie is that they called him Fred Krueger through the entire thing, and Nancy's the only one that called him Freddy. And then Freddy, one time when he goes, "Come to Freddy."
Yeah.
So they only said Freddy 3 times in the original film, but everybody else called him Fred Krueger.
And the only time I remember Nancy calling him Fred Krueger was when she was getting at her mom.
Yeah.
And she had his hat from the dream.
Yeah.
And she had said, "It's got his name in it. It's Fred Krueger, Mom."
Yeah. Well, all right. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get into it, man. I'm going to go off the bat and just say that
greatest movie ever made, 9 out of 10.
No. This is one of my favorite versions of Freddy. This is possibly my, I would say, second favorite look of Freddy. My first one is Freddy vs. Jason. I think they nailed that look spectacular with even his sweater was dark and green. The claws were bigger. His makeup.
I like the darker color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I really love this look. This would be my second favorite. I love the fact that his right ear is burnt off on some spots.
Yeah.
I love that it doesn't have the stripes on the sleeves and that the shirt's actually more baggy. And when it finally shows Freddy in the movie, when he sees Nancy for the first time, when he steps out, he's kind of leaning to the right. Well, Robert Englund said the reason he did that is because the glove was so heavy that it pulled his shoulder down.
But it worked.
Exactly.
It looked amazing.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like Freddy's this cocky dude.
Yeah.
So it's almost like he's got this sly, sassy lean to the right. Right. He's like, "I'm coming for you."
And to be honest with you, even though I said like the Freddy vs. Jason, Freddy is my favorite look in that movie, this is my favorite version of Freddy.
Yeah.
Yes, I love Dream Warriors, how he kind of did the kidding, but he was still scary. But I like full-blown scary Freddy.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, just the way, like, even when he's attacking Tina, it was a cat and mouse game. I really like that.
Yeah.
And when he gets on top of her and she puts her hand on his face and she pulls his face off and he does that little freaky giggle.
Yeah.
And it's just his skull, showing.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I like it.
See, and I'm like the same with you, but halfway, and you kind of know where I'm going to go with it. I love the look from Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah.
but he's more Dream Warriors like in Freddy versus Jason because he's more comedically sinister.
Yeah,
But I like the Freddy from Dream Warriors.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
I do like that funny Freddy,
Right.
even though he's still sadistic and all this kind of stuff. But yes, I agree with you 100%. I think my favorite Freddy look is Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
And I think what I like the most about that and Dream Warriors is you see more definition in his face. This one, you seen glimpse of his faces, but it was always dark and in the shadow. And it was more origin type Freddy,
Yeah.
where it looked like fresh burns.
Right.
Where
Right.
everything was kind of like it looked like it was wet,
Yeah.
and everything looked like he was just bleeding, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, no, no.
Because that kind of it's your introduction to him, so they want you to know, hey, this guy went through some stuff. But
I feel like this could have been a standalone film. I feel like if they would have never released another sequel,
yeah.
This would still, in my opinion, still be one of the best horror films of all time. If he, like I said, now Freddy may not be considered one of the best slashers of all time, because it's kind of hard to be an iconic slasher when you only have one film.
Yeah.
But I still think A Nightmare on Elm Street would stand alone, and people would be like, "Dude, one of the best horror films," you know.
Yeah.
And that's what I think I like about this, because you could tell Wes Craven directed it. There's just certain shots that you look at and the way he filmed certain things. And I like the fact that half the time you don't even see, I don't think you really get a full glimpse of Freddy's face until when he comes out of the behind the tree and he says, "Tina, watch this."
Yeah.
And he does that. And when he cuts his fingers off, he looks at her and smiles, but he's smiling and he's all like excited.
Mm-hmm.
That's about as goofy of a Freddy that we get in this.
Yeah.
And
other than the chuckles, because Freddy, he's always chuckling.
Yeah.
And he's always doing that little sinister chuckle that he does.
Right.
No matter if he's trying to be funny at that particular time.
Right.
Or it's just his chuckle of saying, "Hey, I'm coming."
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way out of it unless you wake up.
Yeah. But like I said, I feel like with almost each of his victims, it's a cat and mouse game. And like with Tina, and I know and a lot of people say it, but I still love the effect. It does look cheesy when his arms is going out.
Oh, yeah.
But
then they make up for it when he does the run.
But that's what I was say. Like, that's still creepy, though, just to know that, you know, like he's stretching out and he's got his head tilt back and he's just smiling and cheesing and his claws are scratching up. And then when she's like, "Oh, God," like that, I think that's what she says, "Oh, God," don't she? Or she says, "Help me, God."
Something like that.
And then he's like, "This is God." The way he says it. And then he just books it toward her.
And see, I think the reason, I don't know, this is just my looking at it, in my opinion. When they show him when he's stretching his arms out,
mm-hmm.
I think that's their way of introducing him as saying, "Hey, this is his reality. He can do what he wants to."
Yeah.
It's not the real world.
Exactly.
This is him doing what he wants to get to where he wants to go.
Right.
And I think it was, yes, it kind of looked cheesy and corny, but that was their way of, to me, introducing you into Freddy's world and just let you know that anything's possible. So get ready for the rest of it.
Right. And I'm sure back in '84 that it didn't look cheesy much. But I still will say, out of every single horror movie I've ever watched, they still have one of the greatest kill scenes, and that's Tina's death scene in bed. And it's not the fact that it's the effect where it slices her down to the chest and abdomen area. It's the simple fact that she is being drugged up this wall and screaming for her life.
Yeah.
And the actress that played her, Amanda, she did a phenomenal job.
I could have done without Rod sitting on the floor yelling Tina every 5 seconds, but
really,
yeah.
Tina.
Tina.
What would you do?
Tina. I think I would have been jumping on the bed trying to get a hold of her
while she's crawling up.
Yeah, that or I would have been heading out the door trying to call the dude from Exorcist.
I don't know, man.
Father Perez, where you at? I need you.
But that's still, to me, one of the, and it's just the creepiest scene because, like I said, to see this girl being drugged up the wall.
Yeah.
And what would you do? You're in shock. You're like, what's going on, you know?
See, and to me, the creepiest scene in this whole movie was after Tina's death.
Yeah.
Rod's in jail. Nancy's in school. clearly falls asleep, and
Yeah.
then you see Tina in a body bag in the hallway,
Yes.
and she's calling Nancy's name, and then Nancy walks into the hallway with a big plot of blood, and she looks down the hallway, and Nancy's body is just laying in a body bag. Her legs lift up with nobody there, and her arm flicks back, and she's just drugged down the hall. And I was like, whoa.
I told Randy while we was watching it, there's been 2 spots in 2 separate horror movies that always made me close my eyes when I was little. The first one was Pet Cemetery.
Oh, why you gotta bring it up?
I don't even remember the sister's name. Zelda.
It was terrible.
Even if I watch it as an adult nowadays, I don't even want to watch it alone at the house because I'm always like, mm-mm. Mm-hmm. But when I was little and watched Nightmare on Elm Street, as soon as I'd hear her go, Nancy, my hands would cut my eyes because instead of fast forwarding it, I wouldn't fast forward it, which was stupid. Yeah. But I would cut my eyes because it scared the daylights out of me.
It's trippy.
But once again, we got to talk about Robert Englund, man. First portrayal as Freddy. Man, and I know people get upset when other people say this, but nobody can take that role as good as he could, or good as he can, whatever you want to say. No. People were made for certain roles. I think you said Johnny Depp was made for Captain Jack Sparrow.
Oh, yeah.
You said Ryan Reynolds was made for Deadpool.
Yep.
Robert Englund was made to be Freddy Krueger.
Oh, yeah. There's nobody else. And the only way you will ever be able to do anything with light is, to me, Robert Englund has to sign off on it, and he has to be in every casting call. But even then, it's not going to be the same.
And it's not. But
that's just it. There's no reason to redo any of these movies. There's no reason. There was not a new nightmare, but what was the name of the terrible movie?
A Nightmare on Elm Street 2010.
Yeah, no. There was no reason for that movie to happen.
No.
None whatsoever.
And they knew making it that people wasn't going to like it.
And they tried too hard to bring it into the time of 2010 instead of leaving it back to where it was. There's just certain things. It's different when you have Michael Myers and Jason. Mm-hmm. Because it's not a bad thing. They have no personality.
Yeah.
There's no personality whatsoever between Jason and Michael Myers. Freddy isn't just Freddy. Freddy is Freddy Krueger.
Right.
And Robert Englund is Freddy Krueger.
Right.
And that's his personality. I've never met the man, but I've seen videos from where you've been at conventions with him, and to just hear him talk, it's crazy because I'm like, I don't even have to watch Nightmare on Elm Street to know that that's Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Because he's animated in person, apparently.
Yeah.
Just from the videos that I've seen from you, and he puts that into Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
And there was a clip where I remember him talking about, there's a scene from Dream Warriors where he smashes the girl's head into the TV, and he goes, "Welcome to prime time."
Yeah.
And to me, that's one of the most iconic lines from any Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of the most iconic lines from any horror movie.
Oh, yeah.
But to just watch him go through the progression of coming up with that line and how he got there, mm-hmm. The only thing that changes as far as facial expression, like nothing on his face changes. It's Robert Englund, but it's just the voice.
Yeah.
He just puts himself into that character. You could tell me that Robert Englund was a schizophrenic and Freddy Krueger was his other personality, and I'd believe you 100%.
Right.
That's why you can't make somebody else Freddy Krueger, because that's what Robert Englund does.
Right. And that's the thing is, I really blame Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 because when that was such a success on the remake, but they went in with a whole nother story and they gave us a new version.
Yeah.
That's not what A Nightmare on Elm Street did. Because if you look at it, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 was a success. Rob Zombie's first Halloween was a major success. Well, then they did Friday the 13th, 2009 with Derek Mears. Love that film. Don't know why it got so much hate, but people didn't like it. Then they did Nightmare on Elm Street, and it sucked. But I feel like it just got announced today that they are remaking, and it is a remake of Idle Hands. And I'm like, I've never seen it, but I know it's a cult classic.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, that's what I was fixing to say. You've told me you like it.
Yeah, I do like it. The original.
I've never seen the movie, but I'm like, who sits there and just goes, "Hey, let's remake this"?
Yeah.
leave the classics alone, man.
And it was just I don't know if there is another movie like I don't know if there was an Idle Hands 2 or not. I've only ever seen the first one. I don't remember the guy's name, but I know Seth Green's in it. Yeah, it's just like they're running out. It's like Hollywood today runs out of ideas.
Yeah.
Way too quickly, and there's not enough people coming together and saying, "Hey, this is a unique idea."
Right.
There's a movie that just came out, I think last year, and the entire movie is from the perspective of the killer, which we had talked about doing.
I did watch it. It's on Shudder.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. That's a new idea.
Right.
That's something that's never been done that I can think of.
No.
That's what we need. We don't need these movies coming back and saying, "Hey, we don't have any ideas. Let's piggyback off the fame of this movie," you know. And people will watch it and people will buy it just because it's got Freddy Krueger in it.
Well, that's the thing with what you were saying, and that's what sucks. I can't even remember what the movie's called, but I watched it on Shudder where it's the perspective of the killer, and there's mixed reviews on it. But I'm sitting there thinking, like, all the people that's hating on it, I'm like, y'all wanted something new. They gave us something.
Yeah.
I watched it. Would I own it? No.
Smile.
Smile's a good one.
Smile's a great example of a new-ish type movie. Now, you could say it takes a little bit from, like, The Happening.
Yeah.
Because it's, somewhat similar where people are killing themselves and going crazy. But
it's not the wind talking.
It's not the wind and the plants and the flowers doing it.
Yeah.
But, it's one of those things where they say, hey, here's this premise, but let's put our own little spin on it.
Right.
And it was a different type of movie. Turned out great.
Yeah.
Still got to watch it, too.
Yeah, I don't... Did it just come out?
Yeah.
Right on.
Still got to watch it.
But... I don't know, like getting back to the actual film, I just feel like it has aged very well. And that's one, like I said, that I feel like it's not cheesy to where, well, I mean, there's a couple parts, but I'm talking about the overall movie.
Okay,
it's not cheesy.
Movie.
I'm not, one of your favorite movies.
If you talk about Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Killer Clowns. I love that movie. Randy really loves that movie. I love it.
Another door.
But that is categorized as a cheesy horror.
Oh, yeah. And I'll be the first to admit it. It's one of my favorites. It was one of my favorites as a kid. It is one of the cheesiest movies out there.
But you can put that in right now and still have fun watching it.
Absolutely.
That's what I was fixing to say. This movie right here is one that if you popped in to show a youngster, it's still creepy to where it's going to draw them in.
Yeah.
You show them Killer Clowns, and they're like,
this is stupid.
What was scary about this? And it's like, no, that wasn't the premise of being scary. It was, it was the 80s, man. Come on. Yeah. All the best horror movies come out in the 80s. I'm sorry. They did. They had a couple good ones in the 90s, but the 80s were the best.
When did Pumpkinhead come out?
First one, I think, I don't remember if it came out in 90 or 91, something like that.
Right there, threshold.
Yeah. Well, Candyman. First Candyman came out in 1990. And
rest in peace, Tony Todd.
Yes, that's man, what a shocker. They said he died of natural causes, but he had been sick apparently for a while. That one hit hard, man.
Yeah, that was a trip.
69 years old.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But I've met him, and he was a really sweet guy. He was sweet to me, talked to me, had a good time. We talked about Candyman and talked about Hatchet and stuff. And every time I see him interact with other fans, man, it looked like he was enjoying himself. But yeah, rest in peace, Tony Todd, man. Candyman forever. So,
the show.
And Final Destination, because he was supposed to be coming back for the new Final Destination too.
Was he?
Yep. Man. I hate that, man. But yeah, I forgot to announce that. I figured we'd do that at the beginning, but I completely checked out on it.
Yep.
Is there anything else you want to discuss about A Nightmare on Elm Street, or would you just rather get in the review? Because,
I mean, yeah, but then my one of my only complaints is in my review. So,
and are we? Yeah, I guess we're doing the pull-in scale.
The pull-in scale?
Yeah, the pull-in scale.
The pull-in scale?
The pull-in scale.
Pull-in scale.
But you want to go first? You want me to go first on this one?
I'll let you go first. I went first last time.
Okay. Which everybody should know what I'm fixing to say.
It's a 10 out of 10. It's the greatest movie of all time.
It is easily top 5 greatest horror movie of all time. Definitely top 5 greatest slasher of all time. Like I said, I feel like if they'd have never made another Nightmare on Elm Street, this would be a perfect standalone film. I really enjoyed it. I think this is Freddy at his creepiness, in my opinion. I love the look of Freddy. I think the music is wonderful in this film. It really captures the tone. I think the lighting is really good because it's little stuff to where you can literally see how it would switch when they're dreaming. When Nancy is going to look uh, at the cell where what's his name in it?
Rod.
Rod is in it. You almost see like it's almost like a little mist.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just little stuff like that.
To where it give you subtle hints that you're in a dream.
Right. The kids actually look like teenagers from high school. I don't know how old they were in the film, but everybody's acting was really good except for the mom. No disrespect toward her. I've met her twice, and she is a very sweet lady. But her acting was like, Randy said it, a soap opera acting. Like there was actually a scene where her and Nancy's talking in the kitchen, and she's like, I threw the hat away. And she turns her back to him like a big dramatic turn. And I don't know if she was, I know she was supposed to be an alcoholic, and I don't know if she was supposed to be buzzed through the entire movie. But there was only two scenes that I felt like she did good in. One was when Nancy's in the bathtub and she starts getting pulled down. She's yelling for her mother, and she runs and she's like, Nancy, Nancy. She's trying to get in. Yep. She did do that good. And then the final scene with her where, you know, Nancy gets her wish and they're all back alive, and she comes out. She's like, oh, I feel like $1 million. But other than that, she's the only one that I'm like, yeah, her acting just, it didn't ruin the movie, but there was just some scenes where I'm just like, it's just like she's trying to be so dramatic. I didn't care for that.
Yeah.
But like I said, overall, I think the cast did a phenomenal job. And also, I love Heather Langenkamp. Love her not just as Nancy, but she brings a purity to Nancy. And I don't know, man. It's one of these films where, once again, it shows that you don't have to have a lot of language, and there's no nudity.
Yeah.
So what would we say?
You come close.
Would we say there was 2 F-bombs in it?
Yep.
And
man, you come close to some nudity. You get some side boob in it.
Yeah, but I mean,
but nothing.
But the 80s were so well known for showing.
And that's the thing, slasher movies in general is known for TNA.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things, like it was nice to not have to watch a slasher movie and to be like, hey, this boobs,
yeah.
boobs.
Like I said, this is one of them films that, you know, my brother is showing my nieces, and I don't feel like he has to be like, oh, cover your, you know. Yeah. But overall, I think the music is great. I love the fact that it's all practical effects. Even though it may look cheesy, it's that classic 80s practical effects. Robert Englund, phenomenal job. Love how he ran with this character. Possibly my favorite scene of Robert in the movie is when Freddy Krueger steps out, like I said, with his shoulder to the side, and he just pulls his shirt up and cuts it right here across his chest. Yeah. And those maggots fall out. It's just his little laugh he does. But my ranking is definitely 2 thumbs up. Add it to your collection. If you're a horror fan, slasher fan, whatever, you gotta add it to your collection. Buy it on Blu-ray, 4K, DVD, whatever is your premise. And I'm giving this a solid A. I would give it an A+ if there wasn't a couple spots that made it into the film. And you probably know one of them. It's toward the end of it. A little cheesy, but I was going to save it for your review and let you say it. But the mom being pulled in the window, yeah, I didn't care for that. I thought that was cheesy. Yeah. But yeah. But no, this is a solid A film, man. I love it. It doesn't get much better than the original Nightmare on Elm Street.
So for me, take what he said about the mom, copy and paste, because awful. I just don't know her as a person. She might be the greatest person in the world. But yeah, it was like dramatic soap opera acting through the entire movie until the end.
Yeah.
Other than her, the cast, I thought they played great. I thought all 4 of the kids really played great off each other. I really do. I really wish that we had more of Tina.
Yeah.
Throughout the movie, because her and Nancy played friends really well together. So, and I'm kind of like you. I wish we didn't kill Johnny Depp, and then he made a cameo going forward.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I'm afraid that if he had, would he have been tied to Nightmare on Elm Street like so many people are tied to famous movies? You know what I mean? So maybe it's a good thing.
Well, Johnny Depp did make another cameo in one of them,
but he wasn't like a predominant character,
right?
In it, one of the things that stuck out to me, other than I do like Freddy's look,
mm-hmm.
as far as being like an origin Freddy, like being the first Freddy that you see. One of the things that stuck out to me was the music. Like it had that old 80s. Ding, 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 ding.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I told Johnny, I said it reminds me of a video game, but then I remembered it reminded me of the Nightmare on Elm Street video game.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's why it reminded me of it. But it was just like, and it's hard to explain. And maybe it's just the gamer in me, because it really did have that old 8-bit gaming feel to it, which was really cool and nostalgic. Yes, I still prefer Dream Warriors over this one. That doesn't mean this is not a great movie,
right?
Because it doesn't slow play you into Freddy Krueger. The very beginning of the movie is him putting his glove together, which I thought was awesome. That was, to me, that was one of my favorite scenes of the whole movie, because that's how you see him becoming Freddy Krueger.
It's almost like this is enough origins we need.
Yeah, that's all you need. That first 5 minutes was all you needed. And then you could hear him breathing in the background while he was doing that, and I thought, all right, this is dope. That's cool. Yeah. So, thumbs up, 100%. If you're a collector, add it to your collection. No matter if you're a horror movie collector or Robert Englund fan collector. I guess if you're a horror fan collector, you're Robert Englund. Anyway, but yeah, add it to your collection. Definite thumbs up. And I'm gonna give it a solid B plus. I'm not gonna give it an A, but I'm gonna give it a solid.
You couldn't even give it an A minus.
I'm gonna an A minus. Well, I tell you what, I will go A minus.
A minus.
I will go A minus. The mom.
So that's what I was going to say.
Half a grade.
I was going to say. So tell why that's your negatives.
It's the mom. And the mom. There were a couple of. I have to remember. And this is hard for me, that this movie came out 40 years ago in the 80s, because I am such a graphical person. So when I see graphics, I know you love the scene, but when he cuts his rib, I'm like, oh, it's so clear that it's clay, and and it's like it's not even trying to be.
It wasn't clay.
It looked like claymation, not claymation, but you know what I mean. Anyway,
it was like silicone.
Yeah. But it didn't bother me. Like, you could clearly see that when he was on fire, it was a stunt man.
Oh, yeah.
That was clear as day. I've seen movies closer to this time where they make it less obvious that it's a stunt man.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things I was like, it doesn't bother me because
Yeah.
But you could have done something. Quit focusing on his face.
Yeah.
Do something. The mom coming through the window, that was just idiotic. They shouldn't have never done that.
Well,
they should have just had him stick his 2 fingers through her eyeballs.
Like on the remake.
Well,
to be honest with you, they said, if you watch the making of it, they kept doing it and would laugh about it. And they were like, just stick it in the movie. Like, they did it to humor themselves. So, I mean, that'd be like me and you making a movie and us being like, I know this looks crappy.
It looks so stupid. We're going to put it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't care for that. The scene where her dad comes in and puts the fire out when Freddy's on top of her mom.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how to feel about that one, because it just looked weird.
Well, and of course, it looks cheesy when the mom's going down. You can tell,
and her arms coming up.
Yeah,
and it just, I don't know, it just looked weird. But then him coming up out of the bed, I thought looked cool.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so, and I know when we were watching it, you said that you're glad they didn't put it in the movie. I almost wish they would have. When Johnny Depp sucked into the bed and they got the blood coming out of it, you said there was a clip where he actually come up out of the bed and slumped over.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they would have put that in there.
Have you never seen it?
Uh-uh.
I'll have to show it to you.
But see, because to me that was like, all right, now you have a body, now you know for a fact he's dead and he's not run away.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, they see all the blood.
But yeah, where'd that blood come from? Pig's blood, like they didn't carry.
Oh,
Remember?
okay, yeah.
See, ski. Anyway, yeah. I mean, and it's just little stuff like that through the whole movie.
So, B+ or A-? Honestly,
I'm gonna go with A-.
Okay.
I will go with an A-.
Well, so that's our ranking of A Nightmare on Elm Street, the OG, 40 years, man. And to go ahead and mention this, one thing you were talking about how there were certain things you would say that you'd be like, I don't know how to feel about that. When I told you one of my favorite scenes where he cuts his chest, he's not burnt.
I never even thought about that.
When he pulls his shirt up, he's got a little bit of burnt right here.
Yeah.
But it even shows like his nipple and everything. He's not burnt.
Yeah, I never even thought about that. That's why the A-.
But
now that might go back down to a B+ now.
Maybe it was just his face really bad in his hand. Maybe his face was on fire and he was patting it out or something. Yeah. But
never know.
Well, all right, that is our review. We hope you guys and gals enjoyed this episode celebrating 40 years of the man who haunts your dreams, Freddy Krueger.
The one and only.
So the rest of the year, let's go ahead and make this announcement. Our next film.
Got an episode coming out the day after Thanksgiving.
So we are actually going to be reviewing
Thanksgiving.
Yes. We have not seen that film.
Came out last year?
Yes.
So, and actually, it came out after we had already filmed or already did the podcast.
Yeah.
For November. So, yeah.
So
you get it now.
Yeah. And I've heard good things about it. So hopefully it's good. And in December, we was really trying to think of a good Christmas horror film to do. And
we've given you Black Christmas. We've given you The Grinch.
The Mean One.
The Mean One, excuse me. The Mean One.
And that's what's funny is The Mean One is starring David Howard Thornton as the Mean One, the Grinch.
Who is also
Art the Clown. So, in December, we will be reviewing all three of the Terrifier films. Randy has never seen nothing. Randy's never seen the movies.
He showed me one clip from the first one. Yes. First one?
The bedroom. That's the second one.
That's the second one?
Yeah.
You suck. Anyway, so I have seen a clip from it, but I've seen snippets on like Twitter or TikTok where somebody would share something, but I've never actually watched all the movies. I was tempted when 3 came out to sit at home and watch them, but I was like, no, I'm going to wait.
The third one,
reaction.
And that's why we are doing it, is because the third one, of course, if you're a Terrifier fan, I've already done my review. Check it out on my YouTube channel, Johnny Reyes. I did my review right out of the theater from watching it. So part 3 is a Christmas horror film. So we're like, hey, let's go ahead and review all 3. And my brother
Reyes.
Yes, he will be reviewing the movies with us. The way that I feel about Michael Myers, and what would you say the way you feel about Scream?
Probably Ghostface.
My brother feels that way toward Art. Like, I've never seen my brother more excited over horror movies than the Terrifier films. But I think that's cool, though, because
it's his,
Yeah, because finally he's excited about something like that, you know.
I will say, and I've told him this, my favorite killer clown so far is Pennywise.
1990 or 2017?
1990.
Okay.
The original. Looks, just on looks, I think Art's got him beat. Because he looks less like Bozo.
And we need to put it out there that David Howard Thornton needs to play the Joker.
Absolutely.
He needs to be in one of the DC universes.
If you've never seen him doing a casting play call of the Joker, look it up.
Yes.
On the Tuble.
I don't think you'll be disappointed at all.
No, absolutely not. He gives you that Mark Hamill feel, and he gives you that old school Joker look.
Right.
Yeah, that needs to happen.
It does.
Absolutely.
So
we were robbed from William Dafoe. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So make this happen.
See, William Dafoe's got the look. We just don't know if he's got the voice.
Smile.
Yeah.
There we go. We just do his voice.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, we hope you guys and gals enjoyed this episode. And as always, please remember to stay scared.
Stay spooky.